Major League Baseball has seen a plethora of incredible seasons from rookie starting pitchers throughout its history. Fernando Valenzuela won the Cy Young Award in his rookie year. Mark Fidrich had the lowest ERA in the league when he was a rookie. Dwight Gooden struck out 276 batters, a modern-era rookie record. And Kerry Wood broke the all-time Major League record for highest strikeout rate en route to winning the Rookie of the Year award. There is no shortage of epic seasons from rookie pitchers, and we can debate for hours which one is the quote-unquote best. Determining which starting pitcher had the best rookie season is subjective, but what if we look at a classic stat that's been in baseball for over a century, ERA? If I were to ask you which rookie starter posted the lowest ERA in a season with a minimum 100 innings pitched in the live ball era, what would your answer be? A solid guess would be Paul Skenes from last year. A 1.96 ERA across 133 innings, Skenes certainly has an argument for the greatest rookie season by a pitcher of all time. However, that's not the correct answer. I'm sure this is not a difficult question to answer, seeing how the pitcher's name is in the video title. While it might be surprising, it's true that Steve Rogers has the lowest ERA in a season by a starting pitcher in the live ball era. This may be the greatest, and dare I say, most forgotten rookie season by a starter of all time. First, who is this pitcher? Just how good was his rookie year? And how does it hold up when compared to others all time? Steve Rogers was a starting pitcher who played in Major League Baseball for 13 seasons from 1973 to 1985. Unlike most players, he spent his entire career with one team, the Montreal Expos. In his career, Rogers pitched in nearly 400 games and threw over 2,800 innings. He holds a lifetime record of 158 and 152, while recording an ERA of 3.17, adjusted ERA of 116, a WHIP of 1.232, struck out 5.1 batters per 9 innings, and earned 44.7 WAR. He's a 5-time All-Star and received Cy Young votes in 3 seasons. Rogers might be the most underrated pitcher of his generation, but that's a topic for another video. We want to solely focus on his rookie campaign. Interestingly, Rogers didn't make his MLB debut until July 18th, so initially, you might find it odd that the possible greatest year by a rookie pitcher only played half a season. Before getting to that, we need a little bit of context. The Montreal Expos were playing in their 5th year of existence in 1973 and had yet to have a winning season. They got off to a decent start, climbing to a season-high 3 games over 500 in late June, and still holding on to an even 500 record in early July. However, a bad skid saw them fall 5 games under 500, where they had a record of 42 and 47 on July 16th. In the midst of poor performance, the club made changes to bolster the roster and promoted Steve Rogers to the big leagues. On that, manager Gene Mauch was quoted saying that they had to strengthen this team right now. This makes one ponder that had the Expos not imploded here, perhaps Steve Rogers doesn't get promoted and doesn't go on to have one of the greatest seasons a rookie starting pitcher has ever had. In his Major League debut, Rogers had an 8-inning performance where he allowed 2 earned runs and earned a no decision. In his second career start, he threw a 1-hit shutout against the Philadelphia Phillies, then threw a shutout against the New York Mets in his third career start. He's just one of 15 pitchers ever to throw 2 shutouts within one's first 3 career games, and over a half-century later, he's still the most recent to do it. Alas, he wouldn't throw 3 consecutive shutouts, and had to settle for a 1-run complete game in his 4th career start. Overall, in 1973, Rogers started 17 games and threw 134 innings. He went 10-5 while achieving an ERA of 1.54, adjusted ERA of 245, a WHIP of 1.060, struck out 4.3 batters per 9 innings, and earned an outstanding 5.0 WAR. Additionally, his 3 shutouts led all Expos pitchers that year, and his 7 complete games were the second most. Imagine a pitcher nowadays throwing 7 complete games in their rookie season. Speaking of which, Despite only playing half a season, Rogers finished in second place for the National League Rookie of the Year award, losing out to outfielder Gary Matthews. Quick side note, would you believe that Steve Rogers received 3.5 votes for Rookie of the Year? Yes, you heard that right. Apparently, there was a voter who was indecisive between Rogers and outfielder Richie Zisk, so that voter split their vote, giving a half vote to each player. Here's a photo of the ballot showing the half votes the players received. I had no idea that was even allowed, and I really hope we see a voter do this again, but instead with quarters. Just a little piece of baseball trivia, so moving on, I don't think I need to explain just how great Steve Rogers' season was. You don't earn 5.0 WAR in that few number of innings by accident. Just how good was that year historically though? Let's look at 3 of Rogers' stats: ERA, adjusted ERA, and WAR. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, Rogers has the lowest ERA of any rookie starting pitcher to throw at least 100 innings in the live ball era. Even if we lower the minimum threshold by 25% to 75 innings pitched, Rogers is only beaten by one pitcher, Al Brazel of the 1943 St. Louis Cardinals. He posted a 1.53 ERA in 88 innings pitched. Sticking in the live ball era with a 75 innings minimum, since Steve Rogers' season over 50 years ago, the lowest ERA by a rookie starting pitcher was 1.79 by Cal Aldred of the 1992 Milwaukee Brewers, where he threw 100 1/3 innings. For pitchers with at least 130 innings pitched since 1973, the lowest ERA is 1.96 by Paul Skenes, who finished his rookie season 1 inning shy of Rogers. The best ERA a rookie starter has achieved since Rogers is still over a 40-point difference. I've stuck with the live ball era so far, so in case anybody was curious, if we look at all of MLB history, Rogers' 1.54 ERA drops to the 9th lowest for a rookie starter. If your ERA is comparable to those from the dead ball era, you were pretty good. What about his adjusted ERA? How well does that hold up? If I may go back to the live ball era, of all rookie starting pitchers with at least 100 innings pitched, Steve Rogers' 245 adjusted ERA is the second highest. The lone pitcher that beat him was Hilton Smith of the 1937 Kansas City Monarchs. If we were to just look at National League and American League pitchers, Rogers now moves back into the number 1 spot. Finding a starter that was better than Rogers here is not easy. We have to reduce the minimum threshold all the way down to 40 innings to find a National League or American League pitcher that had a better adjusted ERA. We see a similar situation from before. In the past half century, the only starter to come close was Skenes, whose adjusted ERA of 214 is still over 30 points less. Lastly, what about Rogers' WAR? We can actually pinpoint a specific number of pitchers here, as in the live ball era, only 47 starting pitchers have ever achieved at least 5.0 WAR in their rookie season. There have been over 40 rookie starters to achieve more WAR than Rogers, but then again, he only threw 134 innings. If we look at rookies with at most 134 innings, Rogers' WAR is now the 3rd highest, only behind the aforementioned Paul Skenes and Hilton Smith. I've yet to mention it, but Smith is a Hall of Famer, and Skenes is already one of the best pitchers in baseball. Some pretty good company for Rogers to be in. If I may pivot back to the Expos for a moment, I'm sure some people are wondering whatever happened to the team that season. After all, Rogers was only called up because they were struggling. When he made his debut, the club was 4 games under 500 and 6.5 games out of first place. Amazingly, they defied all odds and turned things around. Across the next 2 months, the Expos went 31-26 and found themselves with a 74-73 record entering September 17th. That record may not sound great, but thanks to an extremely incompetent National League East division, Montreal was only a half game out of first place. Playing a doubleheader against the St. Louis Cardinals on September 17th, Steve Rogers took the mound in the first game. He delivered a 7-inning performance, allowing 3 runs and striking out 4. The Expos won that game in extra innings, extending their record to 75-73. Since that game ended before the first place Pittsburgh Pirates game ended, for at least a couple of hours, the Montreal Expos were in first place. The first time in franchise history they were ever in first place in September. Unfortunately, that would be where the amazing run ends, as they finished the year going 4-10 and would miss the playoffs. While it was a disappointing finish, just think of the impact Steve Rogers had. The Montreal Expos were about to enter a free fall, and he shows up out of nowhere to have one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time, and keep the Expos in a tight playoff race well into September. The only reason they got so close was because of Rogers. Is this the greatest rookie season by a starting pitcher of all time? Best ERA, best adjusted ERA, and nearly the best WAR, Steve Rogers saved his team's season and came up just short of the first playoff appearance in franchise history. Many might say the lack of innings hurts Rogers' claim for best season, which is a fair point, but given everything, he certainly has an argument. If not the best rookie season, it's at least the most underrated one by a starting pitcher of all time.